What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is the Jose Show. Happy Monday. Now let's get into the first topic of the day. Now let's start off with Diddy. So Diddy has finally received his sentence. Judge Arun Subramanian has ordered him to serve a little over 4 years in a federal prison. So the sentence came down Friday and it is longer than what Diddy wanted. Remember, his legal team asked the judge for a 14-month sentence while prosecutors wanted him to serve 11 years behind bars. He was ultimately given 50 months. Okay, so Diddy's also required to pay a $500,000 fine, part of which will defray costs of imprisonment. The judge did not impose restitution. After announcing the sentence, the judge had some words for the strong woman who testified about the horrific stories. So the judge said to Ms. Ventura and the other brave survivors that came forward, "I want to say first, we heard you." Alright, so the sentencing hearing lasted several hours, during which prosecutors blasted Diddy for scheduling what they called a speaking engagement this upcoming Monday in Miami, while his team focused more on character witnesses and the emotional side of Diddy's situation. So the defense even played a video of Diddy and his kids in court. So toward the end of the hearing, Diddy stood up to address the court and he apologized to his ex, Cassie Ventura. So this is really insane that this evil man is only going to be getting 4 years in prison when in reality he deserves to get a life sentence in federal prison for all of the harm that he has caused to so many women, because this man really went through a whole new level of low here into raping women and drugging women and doing God knows what else to women, and then his freak off parties and so forth. It's very insane that he basically has lawyers to begin with to be defending him in this whole entire case, because at the end of the day, he deserves to be alone and to suffer in all levels, okay? I think that since he's only going to be getting 4 years in prison, he's not going to learn his lesson, because 4 years is nothing. And I'm afraid that since he's not going to be learning his lesson, he is going to continue to be doing his stupid stuff after he gets out of prison. And that's scary. And to me, it's so darn fake of him to be apologizing to Cassie Ventura at the end of the hearing at court, because in reality, this guy is not regretful and he is not feeling bad at all for what he did to poor Cassie Ventura. Because, like I said, this man has a very dark heart. This man, I believe, is that kind of man where he thinks that by torturing people and down talking to people and hurting people and so forth, he is actually doing the correct thing in life, because this guy basically thinks he's the macho man that could be doing all of those things. But no, in reality, this man, he doesn't have shame actually for thinking that he's all that, to be doing all of those things, and for thinking that he has the right to be doing all of these things to begin with. I think that federal prison for a lifetime sentence will actually teach him so well and to stop hurting people, and it'll actually make him realize that, you know, a real human being in real life should actually be more loving, more caring, more respectful, and of course somebody that, you know, has values in life, okay? But this man, like I said, is not going to be getting any of that teachment, that's for sure, because he's only going to be getting 4 years. Now, I think it's so darn funny, though, that this guy was expecting to be getting only 14 months in federal prison after all of the harm that he has done. Because 14 months, man, I don't even think that a simple misdemeanor would even be getting 14 months. And what he did, I believe, was like, what, 2 felonies, I believe? So that's just so darn even demanding of him to even be expecting and thinking that he was only going to be getting 14 months. Like, what in the world, man? Like, this is really a good example of the fact that this guy, you know, really wants to definitely think that he is above the law and that he is above everyone just because he's P. Diddy and he is, you know, one of the most well-known hip-hop stars of all time and so forth. But no, you can be whatever the heck you want, but you are not above the law. So this is really insane, man. I think that, you know, this guy really is going to be one of the most hated people of all time. I think so. And you know what? He deserves it. He deserves it. But anyways, may he rot in prison, and that's all I have to say about this. Now on to the next topic. Now let's talk about Mark Sanchez. So the 38-year-old former NFL quarterback was hit with 3 misdemeanor charges: battery resulting in injury, public intoxication, and unlawful entry of a motor vehicle following an altercation with the 69-year-old delivery driver early Saturday morning in downtown Indianapolis. Okay, so the driver claims he was delivering fire oil at a hotel loading dock when Sanchez approached him and took issue with his parking spot, and after a tense back and forth, he tried to pepper spray the ex-USC star. So when that wasn't effective, the driver told cops he feared for his life and stabbed Sanchez several times. The alleged victim suffered a serious gash to his cheek. Okay, so Sanchez and the alleged victim were taken to the hospital with injuries, and after reviewing surveillance footage of the altercation, the NFL vet was arrested. Sanchez has yet to share his side of things as he doesn't remember much from the night. Okay, so this is really insane, ladies and gentlemen, that this guy, Mark Sanchez, got to do all of those crazy things while publicly intoxicated. I at first thought that Mark Sanchez was the victim because I first heard that Mark Sanchez got stabbed and then he got arrested, but then I read the whole entire story that Mark Sanchez was actually the villain because he was the one that got to, unlawfully get into somebody's motor vehicle and then get publicly intoxicated and then get into a horrible altercation with some dude and so forth. And then that's when I noticed that this person was actually the causer of the whole entire altercation, which is the reason to why the victim ended up stabbing Mark Sanchez basically out of self-defense. And now Mark Sanchez is facing, charges for doing all of those evil things to this poor guy. It might sound evil, of course, that the victim went off and got to stab Mark Sanchez because, stabbing somebody can literally lead to death and injury and so forth. But, looking at it so well, this person was basically trying to save themselves from getting hurt or from getting killed by somebody that wasn't going in full control of their own selves. They were actually going out of control. And, unfortunately, especially when somebody like Mark Sanchez is publicly intoxicated, they definitely cannot control themselves because they got so many things in their system. And you know what? I really just cannot imagine just how scary it is having to be confronting somebody that is fully intoxicated. Okay, now Sanchez went to the hospital. The victim, I believe, also went to the hospital as well because the person also got injured as well. But, Sanchez ended up, getting charged, and he ended up, in trouble yet again, even though he went to the hospital. And I believe that, Sanchez is going to be facing maybe a really good time in prison because I believe that what he did, of course, was a felony, and it was just announced as a felony, by the way. And felonies are definitely serious. And I think that, maybe he'll learn his lesson from all of this, I don't know what led Mark Sanchez into getting publicly intoxicated and into, committing all of these other stupid things. But I can imagine that maybe his depression might have caused it. Maybe his issues with somebody might have caused it. Maybe, I don't know what might have caused it, It might have been something, It might have been something because I don't think that people get intoxicated and then they get very crazy just because. I feel like it's because they are going through something in life, That is just what I personally think. Okay, so anyways, this guy, I feel sorry for him, but oh well, he actually should have thought before committing what he did. Okay, but anyways, on to the next topic. So Taylor Swift just released her new album, The Life of a Showgirl, this past weekend, and it is already breaking multiple records upon multiple streaming platforms. Now, the record is set to surpass Adele's 25 for the most bought album in a week. Now, Adele's 25 currently has 3.3 million copies in a week, and Taylor Swift's new album is currently set to surpass that. Well, Taylor Swift got into a little chat with BBC Radio this past weekend about her new album and also about her personal life with Travis Kelce. Well, Taylor Swift is pushing back on fan speculation she'll wind down her music career when she marries Travis Kelce, calling the theory shockingly offensive. Alright, so at one point, she seems caught off guard when the interviewer says, "Don't tell me this is your last album," referencing fan chatter that marriage and motherhood could lead to the end of her music career. And Taylor sharply replies that's a shockingly offensive thing to say, adding that's not why people get married so that they can quit their job. In fact, Taylor says one of the reasons she adores Travis Kelce is because he loves what she does and loves how fulfilled she is by her work. She goes on to say their connection has only deepened because they're both so passionate about their professions. And apparently Taylor makes an interesting point, noting that in a way they share a similar job, both performing for 3.5 hours in NFL stadiums for a living. So she doesn't give much away when asked about her future wedding, saying she's focused on being excited to marry Travis and the rollout of her new album. Okay, so this is really insane that many people are expecting for Taylor Swift to be retiring after she marries Travis Kelce, because this is coming to show, in my opinion, that so many people are pretty ignorant in thinking that just because Taylor Swift is a woman, she will retire from the music business and she'll let Travis Kelce be the provider. She'll let Travis Kelce be the one that is making all of the big bucks and so forth. I think that Taylor Swift can definitely still work even though she is still married, because at the end of the day, she is a strong woman. She is a very powerful woman, and she definitely is somebody that loves to make her fans proud in all levels. And let's also remember that the woman is a legend. She has sold super duper amounts of records throughout these past almost 20 years that she's been in business, and she doesn't want to stop all of that. She wants to continue with all of that. She wants to continue to make a lot more songs that are about her life, make a lot of songs that are about her, love life, especially from the past, and, her emotions and so forth, especially because let's remember that her songs are more of a story tale and they're more of a, passionate love life type of thing to listen to that a lot of people love to listen to, by the way. And it's really amazing how her music is like that. And for people to think that Taylor Swift is going to be stopping all of that, y'all must be on drugs for thinking all of that, first and foremost. And honestly, Taylor Swift loves music. She loves to, show off that beautiful voice that she has at the end of the day. I haven't heard of a singer retiring from the music business after getting married to somebody. I just have not. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there has been a few out there, but I just haven't heard of any singer retiring after they get married to somebody. I think that this is really interesting how there are just some people that really want to just automatically get into conclusions here and assume things and then, put it out there instead of just being like, okay, well, maybe we're just going to have to wait and see what Taylor Swift is going to be doing after she ends up getting married to Travis Kelce. Okay. That's just what I feel like people should have done. And all of the Swifties out there, I know, are very pissed about these makeup rumors, because I know that the Swifties don't want Taylor Swift to be retiring. They want Taylor Swift to still be doing what she loves to be doing. And, I feel like if Taylor Swift were to even retire, man, I'm sure, would have a very sad life in a way, because music is definitely what is keeping her going. Music is definitely what is keeping her, out there in the spotlight, and it's keeping her, out there with her fans especially, which, by the way, are her everything. And yes, she would be happy with Travis Kelce, don't get me wrong, but it wouldn't be as happy of a life like it would be having to be sharing it with her own fans and having to be, saying all of her stuff and with her own music to her own fans and so forth. So we have to be real about that, okay? We really need to be real about that. And also, Taylor Swift has a really successful career anyways. She's been breaking multiple records with a bunch of her albums lately, and she wants to continue to be breaking records anyways. So that's actually a big motivation right there for her to even continue off with her own music career anyways. It's not definitely a stop right there. If Taylor Swift were to have a failure career, then mean, she definitely would have a reason, I believe, to be retiring. Okay, now that's definitely a different reason right there. But, I mean, a good reason. But anyways, no, she has an amazing career, so why stop? And plus, she's only 35 years old. She's about to turn 36 in December. Okay, so anyways, Taylor, you keep on doing you. We love you. And congrats on your engagement to Travis Kelce once again. And congrats on the release of this amazing album, The Life of a Showgirl, which, by the way, is such a great album. It has lots of fun girl pop vibes. I love Honey. I love your song, The Fate of Ophelia. And I definitely love your other songs that are in the album, but definitely The Fate of Ophelia and Honey got me going because, I mean, those songs are definitely so darn good. They got me in my feelings and all levels. And man, this is definitely like one of her most artistic albums out there, where she is definitely going story by story by story, and she is not stopping, and she is definitely not even afraid to be keeping on going here. So anywho, congrats, Taylor. We love you. So that is it for today's show, ladies and gentlemen. I really hope you guys enjoyed today's lovely episode of The Jose Show. Till next time, and peace.